Hi guys, welcome to Family in the Feast channel. I'm Janet, and in today's video we will be making pumpkin pie. This is a requested video from one of my subscribers, so let's get started. Here are the ingredients you will need for your pumpkin pie. I have all-purpose flour, ice cold water, pumpkin, custard powder, salt. I have ginger powder, clove, nutmeg, allspice, evaporated milk, condensed milk, shortening, butter, egg, and cinnamon stick. The first thing we're going to do is get started on our dough. So let me show you how to do that. So guys, we're gonna add in our salt to our flour. And now our butter. And shortening. And I have my pastry cutter, and I'm gonna just try to mix this in. So now that the butter and the shortening is cut into small pieces, we're gonna go in with our water now. Just make sure you use ice cold water for your pastry dough. And you're gonna try to bring your dough together. You don't want to do a lot of kneading. You just want to form your dough into a ball. So guys, here's a look at my pastry dough. So in your dough, you will notice that you have bits of butter. Don't worry about it. You don't have to knead that until it's evenly mixed in. You just leave the chunks, it doesn't matter. Try to get everything out of the bowl on top of your counter, and you're gonna roll this into a ball until they all stick together. So your aim is to get this into a ball as fast as possible. You don't want the heat from your hands to warm the dough up and melt that butter. You want to leave those chunks of butter that you're seeing in it. So mine is already into a ball. I'm going to wrap this in some plastic wrap, and I'll put this in the freezer to chill for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm going to put this in the freezer now. So guys, here is a look at my pumpkin. It's already done boiling, and I'm going to add that into my bowl. You can leave the cinnamon in, you'll not need that anymore. Here is it guys, let's move on to the next step. So guys, we're gonna start preparing our pumpkin filling. Before you start this step, make sure your pumpkin is nice and cool. You don't want to blend it hot when in your blender. So you're gonna add the pumpkin to your blender, and I'm gonna add in my evaporated milk, my condensed milk, my custard powder, and I've combined all my spices together. I'm going to add that in now. In here, I have some salt. I'm going to add that in too. And we're going to leave our egg for a little bit more. And now we're going to add in our eggs. Here is a look at our filling, guys. We're going to put this on the side and work on our dough. So guys, it's time to roll out our dough. You can feel free to use some dry flour to roll your dough out. And at this time, you would want to grab the baking pan that you're going to bake your pie in. So I'm using this 9.5-inch pan. Put this on the side, and we're going to start rolling. So you just want to lift it so it does not stick to the counter when you're ready to pick it up. So here's why you're going to need to get your pie bowl ready. You're going to put it center of your dough that you've rolled out. And you're going to grab yourself a knife. So I'm going to cut 2 inches away from the bowl. this up. Guys, you don't have to throw this out. You can use it for any other pastry that you want to make. So I'm going to leave that on the side. And I'm going to pick my bowl up. This is how thick my crust is. It's about 1/4 of an inch. If you like yours to be thicker, you can keep it thicker. Or if you want it to be more thin, you will have to roll it out until you get the thickness that you like. So. Now that I put my dough here, I'm going to lift on the side and try to push this down. So I still have some excess dough hanging off here. I'm going to take a scissors and I'm going to cut this out. So after I finish lining my pan with my dough, I am going to start by crimping the edges so you have that original pie look. So guys, to get that pie look, all you need to do is put one finger outside of the dough and the other you're going to pinch and press towards each other. So you're going to do that until you finish the entire edge of the pie. So guys, here is a look after I finish crimping the edge of my pie. Our next step is to preheat our oven to 425 degrees, and I'm going to add this piece of parchment paper on top of my dough. Now I'm going to crimp this up a little bit to help me for it to be more flexible. The reason we're going to add the paper on top of the crust before we bake it is because we don't want the dough or the crust to have that puffiness or lose its shape. You have to maintain that shape so when you're ready to add your filling, you have a nice thick filling in the middle. So to help you maintain that shape, you're going to add that paper in the middle. Now after I add my paper in the middle, I'm going to pour in some rice. That is adding some weight to the paper so that it keeps the paper in each corner. You're going to lift your paper up and you're going to place your finger. Let me do it on this side so you see. You're going to lift your paper and you're going to place your finger in the pie so that you get the corner of the pie. And you're going to start putting the rice to the very end. Now after I finish, I'm going to cut off the excess paper. So guys, if the paper take away some of your shapes, you can just go back and do it over again after you fill in the rice. So guys, I'm going to put my crust to bake now. And you're going to set your timer on to 15 minutes. So guys, while our pie crust is baking, we're going to work on our filling. So to a pot, I have my stove on medium-high heat. And that mixture that we make, we're going to add it to our pot. I'm going to lower my stove down to medium. And I'm going to grab myself a whisk. So you want to whisk this until it's nice and thick. So guys, I'm going to take my stove off because this has thickened up nice. So I'm going to wait a bit for my pie crust to bake and then I'll show you the next step. So guys, it's been 15 minutes and I'm going to take my pie crust out. Now we have to take the rice out and make sure that it doesn't spill. So guys, our next step after we get the rice out is to add our egg wash to the end. So now that we add our egg wash, you want to give your pumpkin filling a nice whisk and till it's nice and smooth. Now we're gonna pour that pumpkin filling, and you want to spread that out evenly. Try to fill in all the corners. Just want to make sure you take all the filling from the pan. So guys, here's a look at our pie. We're gonna put this back in the oven to bake for another 15 minutes. And I'm not going to reduce the heat. So guys, here's a look at our pie. This is the second 15 minutes. If you like yours to be more dark, you'll have to leave it a little bit longer in the oven, but this is the color I like mine to be. We're gonna wait until this cools down before we cut into it or before we take it out of the pan. So hang in there and we'll let Chloe try it for you and let her tell you guys how good it is.
Time to try it. It has peanut butter in it.